The ancient Greek world was the birthplace of Western civilization and also of extraordinary legends. There was the lost city of Atlantis, a utopian world that vanished into the sea. Does it lie beneath this island? There was the terrifying Minotaur, a half-man, half-bull monster that lured its victims into an underground labyrinth and devoured them. Could this palace reveal the secrets behind the legend? How did the religious sanctuary of Zeus give rise to the Olympic Games we still celebrate today? At Delphi, there was the mystic oracle, enabling the ancient Greeks to see into the future. What was the secret behind their predictions? Greek imagination created the first theater, and Greek ingenuity the first acoustic arena. How were they able to design a soundstage unsurpassed to this day? The Colossus of Rhodes was the tallest bronze statue ever made. How were they able to make it stand an incredible 100 feet high? And high above the city of Athens stands the supreme masterpiece, the magnificent Parthenon. How were the ancient Greeks able to realize so many groundbreaking innovations at the dawn of European history? The land we know today as Greece, lying in the eastern Mediterranean, was once a very different world. In antiquity, Greece was made up from a collection of warring city-states that became an empire. As this strengthened, much of the eastern Mediterranean fell under the Greeks' control. Some of these lands had their own rich history and culture. Others lived on in legend, where fact and fantasy became one. Nowhere was clouded by a more terrifying story than the island of Crete. At its center lay the infamous Palace of Knossos. This was once the power base of the Minoan civilization, an advanced maritime race who controlled the wealth and trade of the Mediterranean. More formidable still were the stories of the island's infamous King Minos. In Greek mythology, he's said to have built a labyrinth to cage a monster. Half man, half bull, the Minotaur was the shocking result of a union between a sacred bull and the king's unfaithful wife. Today on the island, the remains of the Palace of Knossos can still be seen. Could this building once have housed the most terrible creations from the ancient Greeks' mythical past? Or did the structure of the palace inspire the story of the Minotaur? Built some 2,000 years before the Greek world flourished, the palace contained hundreds of luxurious rooms. But did horror lurk deep beneath the splendor? In 1900, an English archaeologist decided to find out. Sir Arthur Evans began to excavate what he believed could be the legendary palace. As Evans dug, a magnificent palace began to emerge. Covering an area of 20,000 square yards, it revealed astonishing technical feats of the Bronze Age people Evans called the Minoans. From little more than foundations, Evans was able to reconstruct a part of the palace to create a glimpse of a lost culture.
One could say that the Minoans were truly remarkable in their building technologies. They invented certain techniques and methods that were a breakthrough at that time.
One innovation was a series of terraces dug into the hillside to create the palace's east wing, which stood 4 stories high. Another was the grand staircase running up inside the palace. It was supported by cedar wood pillars.
It's a masterpiece in many ways. because it's no easy thing to build a staircase going down 2 flights on a wooden frame.
The diameter of each column defines its maximum load. 3,500 years ago, the Minoans calculated how to make the strongest framework possible by placing these columns directly beneath one another. And they outstripped all other contemporary civilizations in their mastery of light, using light wells and windows on a scale never seen before. To control internal light and space, the ancient architects created a groundbreaking system of doors. The palace boasted an elaborate underfloor drainage system. This not only dealt with Crete's rainfall, it also carried away waste from one of the world's earliest toilets.
This is the famous toilet of the Minoan palace. Outside these doors, you see this large slab, and we have here a hole. So somebody, let's say a servant, was outside flushing water as the toilet was being used.
Leading to the palace were the very first cobbled roads in Europe, built over 1,000 years before the Romans. There were even sidewalks for pedestrians. It became clear that Knossos lay at the heart of a highly sophisticated civilization. So why did Sir Arthur Evans link it with the myth of the Minotaur in its labyrinth? He found a number of clues, including strange engravings in the shape of a double-headed axe. What was their secret meaning? An ancient word for this axe is labrys. Evans believed this palace could be the very origin of the word labyrinth. Another clue linking the palace to the myth is the layout itself. 1,500 interconnecting rooms, many below ground. A bewildering maze that would drive outsiders to panic. Rather than being the actual site of Minos' mythical labyrinth, built to imprison the Minotaur, could the maze-like palace in fact have given rise to the story? A possibility backed up by evidence that the bull, an ancient symbol of power, played a key role in Minoan life. Experts now think the Minotaur myth evolved when the powerful Cretans controlled the seas, demanding tributes from lesser states, such as Athens. According to legend, the Athenian hero Theseus volunteered to confront the monster. Armed with just a sword and string to mark his path through the labyrinth, Theseus the Athenian confronted the Minotaur, slaying the beast. The Athenians promoted this story. It made them look victorious. But in reality, Athens was at this time only a minor city, when the powerful palace of Knossos flourished. There is no doubt that this great palace could inspire storytellers, or that its architecture would inspire the Minoans' successors, the ancient Greeks. Myths of monsters, heroes, and gods were at the heart of Greek beliefs. The gods controlled human destiny, and for the Greeks, the desire to know what the gods held in store for them became an obsession. A remote hillside at Delphi was discovered to have special powers. Using the medium of a priestess, it was possible to channel these special powers and talk to the gods. These predictions and forecasts at Delphi were known as the Oracle. Greeks in their thousands would soon make the pilgrimage to this mysterious mountain refuge to discover their future. Predicting the future became big business. The Oracle created a huge source of revenue, and this remote hillside at Delphi became so important that Greek city-states had embassies and treasuries built here.
You had the wealth of the Swiss banks and the authority